Let's go.
So share the live, please, guys. We'll kick it off. Jared's got a story. Bring that hope to the table as we do. Wearing my fucking skunk jumper as we do. Sick cunts, not criminals. Some mad merch. All right, so let's go. I'm obviously gonna do a little intro, and then we'll do your little intro, and then I'll start asking some questions, man. All right.
Yep, sweet as.
All right, guys. So you've probably heard it before, but just in case someone hasn't, maybe on Jared's side they haven't. I'm TikTok Gary. Come from the western suburbs of Melbourne. I'm 41. Grew up pretty checkered life, rugged background, drugs, jail, crime, the usual bullshit that goes out in the western suburbs most of the time, especially where I come from. I learnt my lesson the hard way. I was about 33 when I was put in front of the courts for double figures, anywhere from 15 to 25 years I was looking at, and I was found not guilty. Obviously, I was innocent, and it changed my life. Before that, I'd had 5 attempts on my life, died 3 times from drugs, 6 years jail, just hell, ups and downs as it is. And then, I got another shot on life. It wasn't as easy as that, just walking away from the life. I then found drugs. I had no reason to strive hard. I didn't really have a drug problem from a teenager to my early 30s. And then I found drugs. In that time, I ripped myself right off for a few years there, 3 or 4 years. I got over that hurdle. And here we are today. I started my road to redemption the start of this year. I started documenting my road to redemption. And now I'm no longer a dope dealer. I'm a hope dealer. I push a positive message. I tell the youth and anybody else that's listening that drugs, jail, and crime's not worth it. And I know. And I love it. I don't hate anymore. I've got a big heart. I just love. Positive message is my new product, and I push it far and wide. Yeah, I'm a hope pusher. That's what I do. So we do interviews like this to bring little stories to the table. Everybody's got their own little story, and pushes a bit of a message of hope. Because if us guys, if me and Jared sitting in front of you tonight and you hear our story, Jared's story, for example, and you think, fuck, he's done all right to get himself where he is today. Well, maybe that'll plant a seed in your head, and maybe you can fucking fuck a bit of that toxic shit off and start living that positive life. That's what it's about. So we just plant a seed of hope. That's what we're about. That's what I love. That's what I love to do. All right, over to you, Jazz.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a rough upbringing as well. I was from a town that was full of crime and unemployment. I came from, my parents split up when I was only 11, so I didn't really have a father figure around until a bit later in life, and I got involved with the wrong people doing the wrong things. I dodged a lot worse that could have happened, but at the moment I'm in a really happy and good place, and I feel like all those down times and dark times that I had have got me to where I am now, and I wouldn't have changed a thing. So hopefully my story can sort of help any of you guys that are going through a rough time or have been through a rough time or end up going through a rough time down the track. And like Gary said, spread that hope and give you guys a bit of an outlook on where you can still go if you put your head down and start to delete the negative in your life and chase the positives.
100%. All right, so before I ask some questions, I'm going to say thank you very much for coming on and sharing your story. It shows that you're very brave. It shows a bit of character, It's not easy, especially on this platform. People can judge you, and you're willing to let me peel layers, and I reckon that just shows, a lot of dash. It shows you're probably going to feel vulnerable at times. It does. It is like that. But at the end of the day, if your message gets to someone, it's not about us. It's about helping them. And I know you're doing that, bro. 100%.
Yeah.
All right, so. Start off, what state did you? What's how old are you? We'll start off like, how old are you?
So I'm 33 next month. So in 2 weeks I'll be 33.
Yep.
I started life down in Hornsby in Sydney until I was 3.
Yep.
So it's part of my life I didn't even remember. But moved up to the mid-north coast, just south of Coffs Harbour.
Okay, Coffs Harbour. Yep.
So I was the oldest. I've got two. I've got a younger sister and a younger brother. I was the oldest. I was the only one born when we moved.
Yeah.
We moved to a farm, so we were pretty out of town. And then my sister came along 3 years later. Brother came along 6 years after that, and then the parents broke up when I was 10. My sister was 7, and my brother was 3.
Okay, so your
So
parents. So yeah, okay. So your parents broke up, and how old were you then? So you would have been about
I was 10. I was 10 when
10.
they broke up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so you're 10. So you can remember break. What was it like before they broke up? Let's just talk about before we get to them breaking up. So what was it like? Going through primary school and that. What was that? What was the
It
house?
was
What
good. Like,
was home
it
life like?
was like
What was primary school like and stuff like that?
school was good. There was only 60 people in the school, so in my
Yeah.
year there was literally, I think there was 8 of us,
Yeah.
two guys. The rest were girls, so there was 6 girls and 2 guys.
Oh, really?
Um, the only guy that was in my year was my next door neighbour. So it was a very small little segregated town, and life was good. But as far as mum and dad, it was a very toxic relationship, and it was for the best that they did break up. But the downside to that was we sort of didn't really get to see dad a lot after that. And because I was 10, I sort of had a bit more to do with him, but my brother and sister, not so much.
Okay.
My little brother didn't even really remember him
Yep.
because I was obviously only 2 years old. So it was pretty hard. I sort of tried to take on the father role
Yeah.
since mum was single. And, but yeah, like primary school was good. Primary school was good. Dad was working. He wasn't earning a lot, so we didn't have a lot of money,
Yep.
but we didn't know any different. So it wasn't like we expected more because that's
Yeah.
all we knew.
Yeah.
And most of the other people around us were in the same position.
Yeah.
But once we sort of got out of where we were, we moved half an hour up the coast to a coastal town on the beach. And mum, being a single mum of 3, we had even less money because dad wasn't providing for us at that point either.
Yeah.
So it was pretty tough as far as getting by.
Yep.
We missed out on a lot of like school excursions, and there
Yep.
was there was a lot of stuff that we started to catch on to as we got older that we made us realise that we literally don't have much.
Yep. Yeah. I understand. Okay. So, going through school and that leading up to your parents' breakup, were you in trouble at all? Were you getting fights or wag school or steal things from the milk bar or anything like that? Were you that type of kid at all? No.
No, I used to get pretty picked on, to be honest. Like I was a very small guy for my age, and
Yep.
I struggled to sort of stand up for myself.
Yep.
And like we'll talk about later, but that's why I started in the gym. That's literally
Yep.
what brought me to start training.
Yep.
But I obviously hung around the wrong people as well, so we did get in trouble, like every kid does when they're at
Yep.
school.
Yep.
But like I said, it was only a small school, so there was one other bloke
Yep.
that was in my year,
Yep.
so it was just me
Yep.
and him. Um,
Yep.
and that was until we hit high school.
Yeah. So you're a pretty good kid. All shit aside, you're a pretty good kid, And mum and dad were just Aussie battlers, obviously, just getting by in that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they
So
broke up.
yeah, they were doing their best, and like I said,
Yeah.
it was a toxic relationship. It was never going to work. It was
Yeah.
very forced for the last few years of it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty hard for me myself because I was pretty conscious. I was old enough to be conscious of what was going on. My
Yeah.
brother and sister were probably a bit young to sort of understand it all, but
Yeah.
yeah. But then they broke up. That was even harder for me to understand, sort of thing.
Yeah. Domestic violence, like that stuff in the home. Is that in home?
Just a lot of verbal, like lots
Yeah.
and lots
A lot
of
of
verbal.
so like yelling. All right, and that's not cool when you're a kid. That shit's scary as It is. It is for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
We
All right.
actually had
So
the other guy in my year that I went to school with, the small school. His dad he was involved with the Lone Wolves for a while. So there was one night where I actually remember going to his house, and I watched his mum get chased around the veranda with the axe for
yep.
about 20 minutes. We were
Yeah.
like 8 years old at the time,
Yeah.
and that was for him was normal, but
Yeah.
it blew my mind. All I
Yeah.
was used to was the verbal
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't too bad of a start, obviously, and then mum and dad break up. And can you remember how that made you feel? It's gone back a long time. I know you're 10 years old. At that stage, you sort of just winging life, and stuff comes and goes. But if you look back, can you remember how that made you feel, like when mum and dad split up? Like,
Yeah, it rattled me. It was obviously out of my control, but it was something that I wanted to be able to control because it was you don't know what. I didn't understand it. I was like, why? Why? Like, you're my mum and dad. Why have all of a sudden you guys just are living in totally different areas in different houses and hate each other? Like, it was hate. It was like,
yeah,
it wasn't
yeah,
just a simple disagreement. Let's move
yeah,
on. It was like
yeah,
pure hate towards.
yeah.
So it was hard. It was like, and I was all my
You
mates sort of
can't
had.
make sense of it as a kid, eh? You
No,
can't.
it's
Yeah,
confusing,
yeah,
and it's something that took me a long time to understand. Like,
yeah.
it was probably within the last sort of 10 years that I understood
Okay,
it
okay.
was for the best.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Okay.
the hardest part was not having dad around as much. Like, we'd only
Yeah,
see him every second weekend, and then
yeah,
it got to the point where I started to get to the age where I was going out on the weekends. I was wanting to hang out with my friends more
yeah,
than my family.
yeah,
So it was like I just totally had no father in my life for like a good 10 years, and
yeah,
it was not because he didn't want to be. It was just because he didn't know how to sort of do it, and
yeah,
it was new to him as well. But
yeah.
um, yeah, that's another story. It's
Yeah, I understand. I understand. All right, cool. Thank you. I just want to thank you very much because I know it's hard. These things are hard. You bring up old emotions and that, but thank you very much. Because it's just like painting the picture of your life. Where you are and where you are today is awesome. Like we spoke about it. You should be very proud of where you are today, brother. And we'll get there. But it's just the journey of getting where you are today. And it
yeah,
shows
100%.
big. It shows a big character to be able to speak about these things. I believe. And
Yeah,
all right. So high school. Let's talk about high school then. So dad's gone. You're broke now. You moved out a bit more near the beach. Is that right? Is that what it sounds like? Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we went from being on a farm to being. It was another small town, but it was on the
Yep.
beach, so it was on the coast. Um, the school was like there was hundreds of people in the school, so it was. I used to be I still am. I'm pretty reserved and shy around people I don't know. So
Yep.
it was hard for me to sort of go to a new school and have to learn to socialize and meet all these new people. To then also be like I explained before, I was like one of the small kids that
Yep.
really struggled to stand up for myself. So
Yeah.
I
How
was the
tall
new
are
kid at school. I'm 175.
you? Yeah, same as me. So yeah, you're short ass. We're short ass. 5'8". Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I know what it's like. So yeah.
But I was a growth spurt till I was like 15. So I was
Yeah.
really short at one point. Like,
Yeah.
and I was a string bean as well. Like, I was really
Yeah.
skinny. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was just a target like that. As you know, as everyone knows, when you're at a school and you're the new kid at the school, if you can't defend it for yourself, and people start to pick you apart like that,
Yeah.
it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And it was like it got to
Yeah.
the point where I was like, I didn't want to go to school. I wouldn't go to school. I'd pretend I was sick just so that I didn't go because it was like.
Yeah. I get it.
But then, so that was we did
So let's talk
one
about
year.
just break. We'll slow down for a sec. All right. So you go to high school. You're in a new school. Dad's gone now. He's not there. Not financially stable as a family, as a team effort. When there's mum and dad and they're both bringing money to the table, and you've got a couple of good jobs or something. You know what I mean? It's a bit different. So the money's not everything. And I understand. I come from exactly the same background. I know exactly how that feels. And then you go to a new school, and obviously this school's bigger.
Yeah,
Like,
like it was about
yeah.
6 times the size.
Okay. Yep. All right. And then so straight away, as soon as like year 7, year 8, year 9, you go through them years, and what is that? You're getting bullied. You're finding it hard to fit in. Is that what was happening?
yeah, and then to start to try and fit in, I started getting into drugs, and I started smoking by the age of 14, and literally for 15 years straight, just smoked every single day from that initial time, from that
Yep.
14-year-old age,
Yep.
and that was all them from trying to sort of fit in with people that were like
Yep.
the cool group, and that was like the cool thing to do. So
Yep.
it was all relevant to being bullied and sort of picked on when I was at school, which
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
took me down that path. And I think a lot of people who have been down the path
Yeah.
definitely have sort of a similar story as to that's why they sort of did it.
Yeah, you see it a lot. I remember growing up. You see it a lot, man. Trying to fit in, and even
Mm.
even the coolest kids, the coolest, most popular kids will still come across a crowd that they're not that liked, and they'll try and do things or act a certain way or try and bring something to the table. It's just all try and fit in. Well, I see it on TikTok. I see people
I
trying
was
to,
just about to say,
yeah,
there's
what I mean?
prime examples on it right here.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Yeah, and so all right. So yeah, it's going on. So you start smoking a bit of weed and that, starts bonging on a bit, yeah. Start bonging on a bit, and that sort of gets you in a crowd where you feel a bit comfortable, you bit, a
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
worth at
like
that
cool.
time. Yeah, a bit cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. All right, and then so what happens there? So you leave school. When did you leave school?
I actually did year 12, but not for the right reason. I did it
Yeah,
because I had no direction in life. I had no intention of getting a job, and I knew that if I stayed at school, I was going to continue to get the Centrelink benefits, and that was going to get me by.
yeah.
It did for sort of the first few years of school. Oh, sorry, the last few years of school, and I just got so used to that that's why I continued to get an education. It wasn't because I wanted to go to uni. It wasn't because I wanted to be smarter or do better for myself. I had absolutely no intention of having a career or anything like that, and we'll talk about that later as well.
And we
Um,
definitely do that to a teenager. 100%, weed will rob them of their ambition. You know what I mean? Like 100%. If you're your teens and you start blazing up, all you give a fuck about is that. You know what I mean? Getting stoned and you're good. You know what I mean?
habit, exactly,
Yeah,
and
exactly. All right.
it was big money to me, like because I
Yeah,
was used to having $10 pocket money maximum a week,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden I was getting like 200, whatever it was, $200 a fortnight or whatever it
yeah,
was. It
yeah,
was like mind blowing money to me.
yeah, yeah. He was like, this is a wage. I get it. 100%. I get it. I understand that. And, and you've probably seen your mum and dad work, and do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
when dad was there, mum and dad seen them work, then dad left, and then mum worked, or and dad worked, and they were separated. And you said, and they didn't have a heap to, it wasn't like you went away on holidays. It wasn't like they had fancy cars and you had jet ski.
yeah,
You'd be like, well, what a job sort of doesn't make sense to me. What am I going to go bust my ass and we're going to be broke? Because that's what you'd seen, in it, for sure, 100%. I get that,
100%
and that's not
job and
that's
holiday
not their fault.
didn't
Your
make
parents at all. That's just part of life, isn't it? That's the way life is, And until you get older, you don't
100%.
really realize these. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And it was
All right, so
the town we were in. The town we were in was it was the most unemployed. It was had the most unemployment for probably 10 years. It's probably still up there in. I swear it was Australia, if not New South Wales, at least New South Wales. So there was just
yeah, yeah,
no, no one around me had a job. No one around me had an
yeah,
intention of getting a job. It was just everyone was just smoking bongs, getting on it at
yeah,
parties, going out, getting on
mm-hmm.
drugs. Every weekend there'd
Yeah,
be a big ball in brawl. That's what the
yeah.
highlight of our weekends was: punch ups
I get it.
and finding the party, finding the party.
Party. Yeah, I get it. All right, so I just before we move on to your like teens and like leaving school and stuff like that, your later teens, I just want to ask. I have to ask, and I'm sorry to ask these questions, but I have to. It's all
Yeah,
part of your journey, and also keeping the viewers in mind, and trying to spread hope and just bring awareness at the same time. Um, can you, if you remember back, it's probably a fucking touchy subject, but if you can remember back in school, your early days of school, before you started smoking weed and that especially, and the bullying, how that made you feel? Can you remember like coming home from school? Like you said, I remember you said you didn't want to go to school and stuff like that. But can we sort of break that down? Can you remember being an early teenager and going to school and getting picked on being a little bloke? And how does that make a kid feel at that age? Yeah,
You're just helpless. Like there's nothing you can do. You can tell your mother, you can tell the teacher, but it never stops it. Sadly, it just continues to happen, and you always once you've shown weakness, they just prey
yeah,
on you. There's nothing I could do. It didn't matter who I told, how I explained it, how many days I didn't go to school. It was just a continual thing that I knew every time I seen those certain people, it was going to be me just. And I just couldn't defend myself. Like I wasn't
yeah.
gutless. I just couldn't stand up to people that were bigger and stronger than me.
Yeah,
So
it'd be very scary. It'd be very scary as a kid to go through
it
that,
is.
wouldn't it?
It
Yeah.
is. It's like it's
And
hard
you
to
know what?
explain.
No, this is very touching for me, Joe. Like, this touches a spot. And I just want to apologize to you for going through that because I'm going to admit something, and I've said it before, but I'm not a big fan of it. And something that's guilt always holding me heart. But it's part of the reason I try to be such a good person today. I really push the positive message I do. Is I was a bit of a bully at school. I was a bit of a bully. I had little man syndrome, and anybody that mouthed off, I thought, oh, I'll attack them before that old. If I attack them, then it's going to say the next bloke mouthing off. And I used to have a stupid method in my head that if they were bigger than me, which most kids were, or if they were older than me, then it was a free reason to pick off on them. So, and so a lot of older, bigger kids that were sort of kept to themselves, loners and that, I ended up giving them a fucking beating, and that used to make me feel better about myself, and I used to think
Yeah.
other kids like, oh, fucking don't touch him and that, like don't leave that little bugger alone. He's angry little bugger, which was, and I feel really bad for that, man. Like, especially hearing that from you now, like how a kid feels, like those kids must have been so scared to walk past me in the school. Like, what a piece of shit I was,
That's
Yeah.
what it's like. Unfortunately, it is. It's like as soon as I seen the
Nothing
ones that
about it.
I knew do it from a distance, it's like you do everything you can to not make eye contact. But it's just every single time you see them, it's
Yeah.
like they know that they've got power over you, and
Yeah.
once they know that, it's like they're going to test it with you, and they're going to try and show off in front of the other bigger guys. Or and I feel like it's worse between like the ages of like the start of high school to like year 10, and then it starts to sort of everyone starts to mingle with each other and it's not as bad, and then as you keep getting older it gets a little less and a little less. But
Yeah.
that age from year 7 to year 10 was just torture. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. I'm sorry for that.
it's hard for me.
From a high school bully myself to someone that was picked on at school, I really want to apologize, bro. From deepest of my heart, I really want to say I'm sorry for you going through that. I'm very ashamed of that, like I am, and I'm sorry that you had to go through. I can only imagine how a teenager would feel being bullied, like it's fucking bullshit, It is like now I'm older, I've got a better head about me. That's just crap. And like some kids go to the extreme, like I was only speaking to a friend a while ago and she was telling me how so her sister had some children and I know the family, and she was saying how her niece was at school and there was a young girl on top of the roof, of the gym was going to jump off and all the kids are underneath. And she's like, so she's had enough, obviously bullying or whatever problem is, she had enough. She was standing up there like, I'm going to jump, and all the kids are underneath with phones, with the cameras on going, jump, jump, jump. It's just like kids can be so cruel, man. It's just fucking crazy,
Oh,
isn't it?
they don't understand the repercussions of it. Like you don't
Yeah.
think logically at that age. You just
No,
think about the present, how you're feeling yourself. It's a very selfish time of your life.
100%. 100%. That's the key word. Very selfish. It is. That's exactly. It's just no gratitude, no consideration for anybody, is there? There's like, there's
Yeah,
yeah, no empathy at
it's
all.
how you're how you're being portrayed to the ones you're trying to impress. That's what it's all about at that age.
Yeah, and you said it before. I heard you say show off, and that's probably nail on the head. That's a lot of times what I was doing, showing off in front of other
Mm.
kids. Trying to prove a point, which is just fucking weak as piss. Like anyway, well, that's my story. I can go. We can dig that layers on that another time. But let's
The
get
best
back
thing
onto the story.
it's made you a better person for it. And
Yeah,
some people it doesn't. Some people are still in that same mindset and they're 30, 40 years
yeah,
old. Like
as we
They're the
see on
real
this
art.
on this app. It's
Yeah,
crazy. Like it's
yeah,
crazy. It's bullying on another level. It's sad. It is, but they say, like, someone that wants to hurt someone or give them fucking a mouthful, whether it's on an app or whether it's in real life, and that they're usually 9 out of 10 times they're doing it to make themselves feel better. So really,
yeah.
inside, they're weaker than that person they're probably attacking. You know what I mean? Yeah, and
100.
trying to prove something to them or someone else, to themselves or someone else. It's a bit sad, but I suppose you have to grow as a person and really be conscious of where you're going in life and who you are. And, right your wrongs and that, and then to be able to look yourself in the mirror and go, "Fuck, that was a shit go." That was not cool. But
Yeah,
yeah, I can only wish
exactly.
people luck.
It gave that's where I had a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression and like low self esteem and low confidence because of that. Like, I was
Yeah, for
already a
sure.
shy person. Like
Yeah,
I found it hard to even spark a conversation with people I didn't know, let alone after going through that. It was just like that's why I just continued to smoke weed because it was my
yeah,
outlet. It was
yeah,
like every time I'd have a bong, it would just make me feel better,
yeah,
which
for
is
sure.
stupid,
Yeah,
pathetic. Like,
it is. Okay. Yeah, you just had, yeah, fuck. It's because what
and
I
that
think,
15,
how easy is it for that to happen to a kid? Do you know how easy
100.
is it for him to get a hard start at school? Do you know what I mean? And then pick up something like a fucking bong or something else, whether it's fucking stealing cars, whether it's fucking, getting in fights or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I don't know. It could be alcohol, could be fucking some other drugs. Could be something, going out to dance for, I don't know. But, to get into that sort of little subculture to make themselves feel better. And, like, how can you tell a kid at that age, it's all right, you don't need to do that? They're going to be like, fuck you. You reckon I'm fucking feeling shit. You know what I mean? I need to do this. It's 100% I'm doing it no matter what you say. This makes me feel better. And it's just sad when you think of it because how do you fix that? How do you, like, fuck, it's crazy, isn't it?
And then you're not aware that it's controlling you. You think you're in full control the whole time. It's like, oh, I could stop tomorrow. It's not because it's making me feel better. It's just because I like to do it and I socialize with it. It's like you don't realize it until down the track when you're like, holy fuck, I can't stop. Like I'm
Yeah.
fucking hooked. I can't stop now. It's
Yeah.
controlled my life. And then it starts spiraling into things like having to support your own habit through moving poison and like hanging
Yeah.
out with people. Our Friday nights end up going and stealing like petrol out of
Yeah.
people's cars and
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
pick up a deal, and like it just continues to spiral into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
All right. I understand. All right. I'm sorry, guys. Tonight we sort of fucking got not a bit stagnant, but we, instead of just flowing with the story, we stopped there because I think that's a really good subject to bring out, and it touched home with me. Being through what I went through at school, being a bit of a bully, I thought we need to stop and bring a bit of awareness to the table. You guys know what I'm about, and I think that was a good thing to do. So, all right. And once again, before we move on from that, I'm sorry, Jared, that you got bullied at school. It really, really sucks to hear that side of the story. But all right, let's move on because we know that your story ends on a really good note. So I want to get there eventually. But so let's keep going. So you left school. All right, let's talk about leaving school. Yeah. So by the time you left school, we just say you got a bit of money in your pocket from Centrelink. You think this is all right. You got a mix in the bowl all day, every day. You're around a group of friends that you sort of feel comfortable with and accepted. Is that right? Yep. Yep.
Yep, 100%.
Yep.
We ended up like a few of my mates moved into a house, so that was like the hangout area. All the boys went over there. We'd all just literally sit there all day, smoke
Yep.
bongs every single day. A few of them went and got concreting jobs and labouring jobs, and I just continued to just keep getting my Centrelink and supporting. That was enough to support my habit. It then got to a point where I was just smoking so much that it wasn't enough. I needed more money. So that's when I started to hustle a bit with trying to make ends meet with moving it. And it was just stuff
Yep.
it just got to a point where it was so easy and normal that it continued for 10 to 15 years. But it was,
Yep.
yeah,
So,
straight after school, we were
so
all at
would you
this.
you started off supplying your habit? Like just supplying your
Yeah,
habit. Just a bit of a hustling. But you got involved in the weed game, we'll say, and then to supply your habit, and then it become like an income, and then you started to be able to sustain life. Is that right? Yep.
That was my first business, and it was
Yeah,
something that it turned into something that was so easily done, and there was no limit, and I was in a town that was full of it, so it was just like, it was not so much frowned upon as much as it would be in other places, because there was just drama or so much crime, so many other people not working, so many people doing what I was doing, and it was just a normal thing. Like, it wasn't. I didn't think like I was doing anything wrong at the time of doing it.
Yeah,
and it was so we did that for like.
Because obviously
moving to
when you're doing that, obviously, sorry, cut you off, but obviously at that stage, it's like it's just a bit of weed, That's obviously
exactly.
That's what you
and
would be thinking. Sure.
You compare it with people that are moving all the more heavy duty stuff, or people that are like committing murders or other worse crimes. Like, weed's this tiny little thing, nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
like, I'm not doing it. So we were living in my mate's house with just all the boys. Moved up here for 6 months, up to the Gold Coast. None of us worked. Actually, sorry, 2 of us worked at a time. The rest of us just hung out at home. Whenever they'd lose their job, another 2 of us would go get a job. Nothing permanent. Lasted 6 months. It was never going to last. All moved back home. And then my mate got killed in a car accident. So he was one of the popular guys amongst us. He fell asleep in the back of a car, and someone who was at the party got their keys taken off him. And he just kept trying to get his keys back. No one had given to him. He stole them from wherever they hid him, got in his car without knowing that my mate was in the back, and started to drive off in the car, crashed it 100 metres down the road and killed my mate.
Sorry to hear that, mate. How old
4
were you
months
then?
later, I was 19, so I just started training. I just started hitting the gym. He was another one of my mates that hit the gym. 4 months later, I had another mate get stabbed to death, and then 2 months later, another mate committed suicide. So it was like three of our, and it was such a small town. It was like 3 really well-known mates that everyone knew, in a matter of 4 months, all died from like the most horrific things that you could think of.
So obviously, old mate that was driving the car and had your buddy in the back seat, he obviously went to jail. Yeah, is that
He went
correct?
to jail. Yeah.
And
He
then,
claimed that he had he went to all these mental health things and ended up reducing his sentence a lot, which fucking pissed a lot of us off, because he didn't take what he deserved. Like, he fucked up. He should have taken the time, whatever it was, instead of claiming that he's mentally fucked. Like,
and then so from there, sorry mate, sorry for your loss. And then so from there, your mate was stabbed. Did you, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, did you see that? Was that
I was at the party. Like, I was there 10 minutes before it happened, and I didn't actually see the stabbing, but it was like, it was very raw. It was just after he'd left where I was, 10 minutes later, got stabbed to death.
And so obviously the bloke that stabbed him went to jail too. And then so and then another mate, he's committed suicide, and then his family's obviously got a life sentence, obviously, once he's committed suicide. I just think, talking about that's crazy, isn't it? Like, so 3 massive incidents, and like that would have hurt you, and the ripple effect from that is just huge, isn't it? So like, you got one person that's dead, and then his family's mourning him. You got another bloke that goes to jail, his family's missing him. All the friends around, all friends and family are hurt from both sides. And then the same again with the stabbing and the bloke that passed away, and then again with the suicide, it's just crazy, isn't it? Like an accident, murder, suicide.
It's just, everyone knows everyone. So it's, like, if it was in the Gold Coast, it happens every couple of weeks. But because you're in a small town, all these people that it happened to were like so close to you, and their families and everyone that knew them. is just like, it's like you said, it's just a massive ripple effect. And I didn't know anyone that died before that.
Yeah.
Those are the first people that I knew that had actually died that I knew personally.
Yeah.
So like the first one rattled me, and then within 2 months it was like the worst one possible. Like the stabbing was just, it was unexplainable. It was something that's just like, and
Yeah.
it cements in your brain. It's something.
Traumatizing for everybody involved. It's
Oh,
traumatizing. 100%. Yeah. That shit stays with you forever. Okay. And then the suicide as well. And that was in a space of how many months, those 3 deaths?
like 4 months.
Crazy. And you were 19. Fucking,
Yeah,
And so, all right. So let's try and put a good note on it. I know that's sad. And like, there's one thing, I know we go to dark places, guys, but hold on for the story because it always finishes on a good note. I don't want to take people to dark places and trigger them and make them feel shit and just leave them there. That's not what we're about. So, all right, you were training at that same time too. I heard on and off. You just started to get in the gym because that's a big part of your story. Is like
yeah.
this
So I
bodybuilding.
started. I think I just turned 19.
Yeah.
My mum, she hadn't had a job the whole time that I had known, like I had been alive, and she went and got a job as a manager at a local fitness and aquatic centre. So I got a free membership, and I just started training there. And it was more so because I wanted to build my confidence up because of how small I was, and I like bodybuilding is a genetic game as far as how quick you can put it on the muscle and the shape that you are. It's something you're just born with. And in the first 6 months, I just blew up and I just loved it. Like I loved getting the pump. I loved training. I loved seeing the changes, how drastic the changes were. And my confidence was just through the roof because I went from like 64 kilos, wringing wet, to like 78 kilos in a matter of 6 months or something. So
Okay.
I started like, everyone started to sort of give me, and it's bullshit, but everyone started to respect me a lot more and started to like treat me like I was better than,
I
like, and this
understand.
was all the people that I'm talking about from school
Yeah.
that were picking on me more so when I was small.
Yeah.
They started to give me respect, and like,
A
I
big
just
boost to your
totally
ego.
changed as far as my self esteem.
Yeah.
They lost the ego. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got a question that comes to mind. When you hit the gym, and this is probably a bit off topic, but I can't help but ask, when you hit the gym, were you still smoking weed that whole time?
Yep. I did it for,
Where?
I didn't start smoking weed until 28 years old. So
Yeah.
5 years, 4.5 years ago.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, all right. Sweet. So you did that. So you just go to gym and then come home and get weeded. Were you weeded before you went to gym? It's interesting. Yeah.
No,
Like,
I'd never do it before. Never do it
yeah.
before because I just lose my energy and I
Yeah.
just like, you just don't want to do anything. But
Yeah.
as soon as I got home, that was the first thing I did. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't do anything else. I'd sit down
Yeah.
and I'd chop and mix up and have a bong,
Yeah.
and it would just be that would be my routine every single day.
Yeah.
I'm very much a routine person. So once I create that routine, it's just anything that's out of that, I just feel like I'm out of place and the day's ruined and it's not how it should be. So that was
Yeah.
how I did it every single day. I'd sleep
Yeah.
in till 11:30, 12 o'clock because I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
I'd get up, I'd go to the gym, I'd come home, I'd do that, and then I'd support myself through the
All
same
right.
thing.
So by your early 20s, you got into gym. Yep, that's right. You
Mm-hmm.
got into gym by your early 20s. And then you're smoking weed still. You've lost some mates. You grew up like the way you have. We've got that bit sorted. All right. So now I'm interested in knowing. So for the next 8 years, let's say you smoke weed and go to gym, and obviously you're hustling to survive. That's your product of your environment. That's what you're used to. Um, did Where did that? So can we talk about these next 8 to 10 years? Can we talk before we get to where you are today? Slowly get there to your nearly mid 30s, early 30s. Um, so did the hustling? Obviously, as you've grown, you're becoming an adult, mature adult. You're in the game. You're moving and shaking to supply your habit. And then obviously you bring in income. Plus, you're going to gym, you're looking fit, starting to get a bit of respect. You know, it's a boost to your ego. Does that get out of control? I wonder, because it's just a life journey. You know, I wonder, does it start to get out of control? You know, yeah,
100%. It's like you start to think you're more bulletproof than people that are working and doing the right things, and like you're getting
yeah,
away with it, and
yeah,
like I said before, it's there's so much. It's bad, but there's so much money that you can make
yeah.
that you just don't see yourself doing anything else. And like I
And that's
had a few
important.
jobs here and there, never held a full-time job. It was just
Yeah,
I knew how hard that I had to work for that money every time I got a job, but then how
yeah,
easy I could earn more than that. I just fell
yeah,
back straight to doing what I knew and
yeah,
hustling for years and years and years. I did it. Like I just didn't hold a job, and I didn't care to hold a job, and I didn't care
yeah,
to even know what I wanted to do as a career.
yeah,
Um, just yeah, it was like I said, you feel bulletproof, and it does start to get out of control. And
yeah.
luckily, I started to grab it before it did.
Yeah, mad. That's good to hear. So, because obviously the money's just another boost to your ego. You've got to build. You're getting in the gym now. You know, the money's boosting your ego, and all that has got to give. You know, you can't sustain life like that. For anybody out there, any young fellas, any young women out there that think it's cool to knock around and that, you know, fuck around, whatever you want to call it, muck around this and that, run them up, blah, blah, blah. You know, you cannot set up a life like that. You know what I mean? Where you're just going to, you haven't worked, you know, like you're going to get in the game, you're going to, you know, supply your habit, turns into an income, do you know, like, and then you go in a gym, you're walking around big, strong, think you're bigger and tougher than everybody, plus the money. Oh, now I've got money, I don't have to work hard for it. That will crash 100%. You know, it's appetite for
In a small
disaster.
town, because
Yeah,
you're the king of the town. Like
yeah, yeah,
without boosting my own ego, I was a lot of people wanted to do what I was doing.
yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure.
and
Yeah,
then, and then it got to the ice epidemic,
okay.
and that's where things started to really spiral out of control. I had four of my best mates. Two went to jail. Two are still absolute junkies. Like don't ever have a day off. They just
Yeah,
live a normal life on the ice.
yeah,
I was dabbling in it a lot more than I was aware of. I was like I was saying before. You're not conscious of it. You think you're not doing it much, and you think you're in control. But
yeah,
it gets to the point where I was like, my little brother had come and hang out at a party, and I was hiding it. I was hiding away from him so that he wouldn't know. And that's what stopped me. Like, I did that once. I was at a party and he was there, and I went and hid from my own little brother. I didn't want him to know that I was doing it, because I was doing it as often as I was, which wasn't heaps, but compared to what I wanted, like to start with, I just wanted to try it. And that's the same with any drug. You just want to try
yeah.
it, and then it gets to the point where it's just it gets to the point where you just don't realize how much you're having it. And then that was the turning point with that. My two mates were in jail. My two mates were in jail. The other two mates were absolute junkies. One was in and out of rehab. Like, all the people that were surrounding me were just absolutely hooked. The whole town was just
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, what age were you then when you started to try ice and stuff like that?
probably like 24, I'd say.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And that was
It's
at the point where
everywhere.
my little old enough to start hanging out with us. So he's 6 years younger than me, but he was starting to get into smoking as well. And then that's where it started to like bring my conscious mind back into, I don't want him to start doing what I'm doing. So I need to get myself out of this before
Yeah.
A, I go to jail, B, I get taken advantage of by someone who's jealous, or C, I lead my brother down a path that I can't control him or stop him doing.
100%. Yeah. All right. So, what starts? Obviously, something's got to give. Obviously the seam started to fall apart somewhere. You know. What starts to happen next?
So I had my first serious relationship. I didn't have a girlfriend, and like I had girlfriends in school, but I didn't have a proper girlfriend until I was about 23. and that went through to 26.
Yeah.
And at 26, I found out that, and we were both smoking, like she was smoking as well. So that was another thing. That was part of the toxicness. But I found out that the whole time I was with her, she'd been cheating on me. And I knew even before I got with her that she'd cheated on all her past boyfriends as well. So I stupidly just thought that I was going to be the one to change, to be able to change her. And the whole time I was getting told by my best mates were saying, like, she's gone and seen old mate again. She's gone and seen this bloke again. I just wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't take their word for it. And
Yeah.
I was literally losing mates because of it.
Of course.
And then it got to the point where I got some pretty solid proof of it. So I ended that, and that's where I hit my first proper rock bottom. And I literally just didn't leave my house for like 2 weeks, didn't leave my bed for 2 weeks, stopped training. I was smoking more than I've ever smoked in my life. I was just totally non-sociable. Like, I wasn't hanging out with anyone. I wasn't talking to any of my mates. I wasn't even opening up to my own family. It was just like it was a time where it needed to happen, but at the time it was the worst thing that could have ever happened. It was like, I didn't think it was going to, as you do when you hit rock bottom, you don't think it's going to end. You think it's just going to continue. And it's just, yeah, it's something that, like I said, it needed to happen. And that's where I just totally flipped my whole life. I stopped smoking for the first time. I did take it back up, but I went and started a TAFE course, which I started my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. And that wasn't to get a job still. That was just to educate myself, to try and better myself as far as knowledge goes for training. I got back in the gym. So I started to sort of half flip my life around, just doing TAFE, still living on Centrelink. TAFE obviously gives you the benefits of Centrelink. And then I started to see the potential I had in the fitness industry as far as my own physique went. And I did my first like transformation sort of thing, which I just coached myself through from learning it all in the Cert 3.
Yeah.
And then I ended up winning the national, it was like an ASN 10-week challenge. So they just judge you on your before and after photo. I was 26 or 27.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I won that ASN thing. I did TAFE for 12 months. So it was about halfway through TAFE. I won that ASN 10-week challenge, and I won like a $5,000 travel voucher.
Yeah.
And that was like the ding point where I was like, fuck that. I enjoyed doing that, and now I'm sort of getting all this recognition for it, and I'm starting to get people to ask me to help them.
Yeah.
And then I got offered a job at a gym doing personal training. So I didn't have a job. So I thought I may as well just give it a go. Like I'm into this. It's not something that I feel like I'm going to have to push myself to do. So I started doing that. And like looking back, I didn't love it as much as I thought I did, but I just loved the scene. I loved the industry of fitness. I loved trying to help people. The only thing I didn't like was there was a lot of people that in PT, there's people that don't want to be there, and it's very energy zapping. If they like, a lot of people come because they've either been told by a doctor that they have to, but they just come because in their conscious mind they're saying, well, I've gone, even though I didn't do anything, even though I don't want to change, even though I'm not changing my diet, I've still went. And we got to sort of deal with that negative attitude of them, which zapped me a lot. Like I'd get to work positive and motivated, but then I'd get one of those negative clients, and it was like, oh fuck, how do I deal with this? Like how do I get on with my day when I've just been whinged and whined to by someone who just doesn't want, they don't care about learning, they don't care about the exercises I'm trying to teach them.
Yeah.
And then so I did that for 12 months, and I enjoyed majority of it. Like it was good income. It stopped me from getting my income from elsewhere, what I was doing before that. And it gave me something to sort of do and look forward to, and stopped me smoking as much. Like I said, I took it back. I did start smoking again, even though I had stopped, but it was nowhere near as much. And it wasn't for the same reason. It was just because it was like a routine thing. It was something that I knew, and it was part of my life for so long. So I did that for 12 months. And then I wasn't earning as much as I wanted to earn, but I started to get into the mindset of earning money and making a career and looking for something to do for the rest of my life. So I started saving for a house, and I got another job doing bar work. So I had 2 jobs for a bit. And I was also caring for my grandparents as well. So it was pretty flat out. Like I was pretty busy at that time, and I saved up enough money to. I had about 40 grand, which I saved up, and I was going to start looking into buying a house. This was 2017, so I would have been 27 at this time. So I saved 40 grand. 40 grand was mind-blowing amount of money for me. Like I'd never even thought there was a chance of having that. And then crypto started blowing up. So I'm very much someone who takes a gamble and doesn't analyze things as much as I should. I'm very much an emotional person as far as decisions. I started to see all these people make so much money from crypto, and I was like, "This is it. Like, I've turned my life around so much already. I'm going to just put, instead of buying a house, it's going to go up, but it's going to take a long time for me to make money from a house." So I just put the whole 40 grand into crypto, and I bought it at the very top, which 2017 was when it crashed. So it went from being worth 40 grand to, I was worth like 7 grand or something at one point. And because I'd lost so much of what I had, I started to look into trading. So I started to trade crypto. I had no idea what I was doing. I just seen all these people that were making so much money with trading crypto, and I was just losing more and more. Every time I put a trade on, I'd buy it at the top again, I'd sell it at the bottom, I'd buy it at the top, sell it at the bottom. And that's where everyone fucks up with trading. Like, it's just an impatient thing. And I ended up having nothing. Like, I lost everything. I had 1.8 Bitcoin, which today, if I'd held onto it, I'd have a fuckload of money. So even though I turned my life around, like I just turned my life around to the point where I had a career, I was enjoying things, I'd got rid of that toxic relationship, I'd saved up money for a house, everything was going good, and then bang, straight back to rock bottom. That was the second time. And then, so from there, what did I do from there? I kept with the bar job. PT's more seasonal work. So in winter time, you don't get as much people coming to you because they're all covered up. They're not really aware of what they look like, or they don't really care. So I sort of got to the point where I wasn't earning enough to pay the gym the rent that you need to be able to pay to do the PT. So I stopped doing the PT, but I started taking on people online. So I was just doing their programming, and this was before online coaching was really a thing. It was just, I knew that I could write out a program for people, and I knew that I could sell it to people for a certain amount of money. So I started to do that. I just had like a handful of people, like it was just mates, really. And I was doing that for a bit, and then I decided I wanted to do my first competition, which I never thought I would ever do. I just liked bodybuilding. I didn't care about, like I always used to pay people, not pay them out, but just getting up with the G-string and sort of doing all that stuff where that's a very selfish thing to do. And I decided I wanted to do that because they had a comp coming to where I lived, which was the first time it had ever come there. And I was like, I may as well just give that a go. I've just done a 10-week transformation challenge myself, like 6 months ago or whatever it was. So I did that, and I ended up winning the comp that I did. And I started getting a lot more clients online. So I was like, still part-time doing casual bar work, which was enough to get me by. But then I started doing online stuff, and I got to about 28. I decided that I wanted to do like the next category up in bodybuilding. The first one was ICM, which is natural. And then I decided I was going to do an untested federation, which is WBFF. So I did that. I was still living back where I was from, and I was segregated from everyone because no one really understood social media or fitness or anything that I was really doing. But I was at that point so driven on what I was focused. Like I was just motivated to start making a career, and I knew that I'd found something that I could make money off that I enjoyed doing. So I did my first comp in that, and I came fourth out of like 30 people. So I said to myself that I'm going to give it another shot at trying to make the top three. If I don't, then it's not for me. If I do, then I'll continue to do it. So I went back to back, which is like I only had 4 months between that comp and the next comp. The next comp, I ended up winning my pro card. So if you win in WBFF, they give you a pro card and you become a professional at WBFF. So that was my second comp in the untested federation. I ended up winning that pro card. And that sort of linked me up with a few people. Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, me up with a few people up here that I started to like follow on Instagram and talk to a lot more like-minded people. And I decided that I wanted to move up here, but it still took me another 2 years to do it. I still just hung around back where I was from and just continued to build my own physique and try and work on my own online coaching business. I never got it to a point where I was able to go full time with coaching, but I decided that the only way I was going to be able to make it a full time thing was to force it. And my idea was that I was going to move up here to the Gold Coast, not knowing that I don't have another job to go to, and knowing that I don't have enough clients on my online coaching to be able to support me full time. But if I don't have a choice, then I have to make ends meet. So I moved up here, and within probably the first month or 2 months, I was earning about $700-800 a week, which was enough to live off. I was paying my rent. I was buying my food. I was paying my ways. I was loving what I was doing. I was changing people's lives by doing online coaching. I started to meet all these people up in the Gold Coast that I'd looked up to, that were like these famous influencers, and I ended up starting to like hang out with them and be friends with them. And I was still saving a lot of money, and then it was 2019. I invested 120K into a guy or a company that trades currency. So I knew I couldn't trade. I tried it. I thought I'd give it to the professionals that can do it properly. I put in 70 grand to start with. I was getting a return of like 5% per month, which is a pretty good return per month. Like I was earning off my 70 grand, I was earning like $1,500 a month or something on top of what I was earning through online coaching. So it was nearly another wage. So I did that for a couple of months, and I was like, I've still got all this money in the bank. I may as well just go all in on it and start to earn 3 or 4 grand a month sort of thing. So put the rest of it in, 120 grand, and then COVID hit, and the company of where I put my money, they just went totally ghost. The guy that I had spoken to stayed in contact with me for about 6 months, kept saying I was going to get my money back. Now his phone's disconnected, everything's disconnected. So lost another 120 grand, and that was everything that I had. Like everything that I had, my whole COVID ruined my business. I was earning $200 a week. I couldn't pay rent. I was only able to just afford food. Luckily there was that rental assistance or whatever it was, where the government let you sort of not pay for 4 months. But if it wasn't for that, there was no way I was going to have to go home. And if I went home, I was going to get mixed back in with the wrong group again. And then COVID was sort of a downtime. That's when I started my TikTok.
Twice now, fucking crypto. Fuck me, man, huh?
Oh, it doesn't finish there. Like, so
Poor guy.
COVID for 6 months. I made a TikTok. That's when I made my TikTok. For 6 months, all I did was TikTok. We had a little gym at home that I trained, that we had like all the boys come over and train. And that's all I would do. I'd just make TikToks and I'd just train, and we'd just do fuck all. Had no work. I had no income. I had nothing. I had worries, but everyone had worries at that time. It was a normal thing. No one had the income coming in. So I built my
Yeah.
TikTok up like 100K followers in a matter of the first 3 months of COVID.
Crazy. And what
And
with
then,
how what just gym reels or what were you
no, it wasn't.
doing like?
There was no gym content. It was all just me doing like those, just remaking those stupid, not stupid, but like the dancing things and like
Yeah.
just things that I'd see the trends that were going around. I'd just
Yeah.
jump on a trend and try and remake it. And the first one went viral and got like 300,000 views or something. And I gained 12K followers from it or something. And I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, this is easier than Instagram. Because I built my Instagram up to like 50K, but it took me
Yeah.
years and years and years. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just started growing on TikTok, and then COVID sort of started to die down. So I started to really focus back on my online coaching again. People started to realize that they could do home workouts and they could start to, like, they were getting earnings again, so they could afford to get online coaching. And I built my
Yeah.
business back up to a point where I was saving more money, and I saved 70K in the last 12 months. I put that back into crypto, and as we know, 10
Oh,
months ago,
what?
the shit again. And that 70 grand that I put in is now worth 8 grand.
Fucking so you've done like 120, 40,
120, 40 plus
60.
70.
You're looking at about 250 nearly. No, that. Yeah, about 160. Yeah, about what? So fuck man, 220. Fucking
Yeah.
nearly a quarter of a mil. You fucking pumped into crypto, you mad cunt.
Yeah, I know. I'm just my, I just don't think, I do now. Like, it's, even though it's still raw, it was only 8 months ago or whatever that I lost it, but it's still in there. I haven't lost it. So I haven't sold it. It's still there, but it's worth a tenth of what it was worth. But then I started to just really, really hone in on coaching. I did another comp April this year, and the last sort of like 10 weeks of that comp, my business just exploded. Like, I 4 times my income in a matter of 6 weeks, and I've been able to maintain that. And then I came along the TikTok lives. So now it's like, at the moment, I'm earning 5 times what I've ever even, my peak that I've ever earned in my life. Um,
Congratulations.
I met my fiance through COVID, and that was because of losing that 120K. I reached out to her and asked her to go for a walk with me, and sort of had someone to break down to and open up to, and then we ended up just binding like never before. And it was
That's
something
awesome.
that I didn't know. I was so used to having that relationship of being cheated on and being no trust, no loyalty, and now
Yeah.
like me and Courtney are so similar as far as our
Yeah.
goals, our personalities, who we hang out with, what we're about. And
Yeah.
so 3 months ago, I asked her to marry me at her comp. She does comps as well.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much, yeah, it's like the last 6 months have just been the best 6 months of my life. Everything's been positive. Business has gone up. Relationships gone to a T. We're going to
Don't
move
you
over to
get
Bali next year.
more money? There's no more money.
No,
Just
no,
stay on your
no,
path now. You know what I mean?
no,
Yeah.
yeah, crypto's
No.
definitely, it's enough out of me.
That's awesome to hear, bro. What a journey. So now, like, you got nearly 150,000 on TikTok. What do you got? 50,000 on Instagram. Do you do Facebook?
Yeah, I think I've got like 9 or 10,000 on Facebook.
That's crazy, bro. You got a mean following, and then so so now you're a personal trainer. Is that right? Do you write nutrition plans, or do you actually work with people one on one? Like, what goes
Yeah,
on? Can
so
you
it's
explain?
mine. Over the time of doing online coaching, I've played around with different, like, because everyone has their own sort of clientele, and I
Yeah,
tried having clientele that were like people that I could just give the program to, and I wouldn't have to really check up on or hold them accountable, and I'd charge them a smaller price. And my output of work wasn't as much, but I could take on more clients. But now I've figured out that I I take on less clients, but I give them a lot more. So I provide a lot more accountability. They have like my personal WhatsApp number, so they can contact me at any time that they need me. I check in with them like twice a week. I do weekly check-ins as far as their photos, and then we make adjustments to their programming, and it's all about, a lot of it's about the mental side of things as well. And because I've been through quite a lot of ups and downs myself, especially with like being the small kid at school and like being skinny, I get a lot of guys that I can relate to in that department. And I've also been overweight. I've also struggled with being overweight as well. So I find that because I can relate to a lot of people and a lot of their ups and downs, it helps me to coach them. And it's not just the fitness side of things. It's a lot of it's the mental side of things. So people can follow a program, and like you can give them the meal plan and the training program, but if they're not mentally held accountable and realizing that there's a lot can sort of, like, you don't have to eat broccoli and chicken. You can have ice cream. You can fit chocolate. You can have the
I know.
things that you enjoy.
There, you know,
Yeah. You can have max sugar, no calories. You can have as much as you want. It's like, it's not healthy for you to have heaps of it, but as far as body composition and changing, like dropping body fat or building muscle, it's irrelevant. Like, you obviously want to be healthy as well, but you can still be healthy and have a balance while still getting results, as long as everything's been calculated. And that's where I sort of try and lead people to realize, is that you don't, like, it's just been hammered into people's heads the last 10 years that it needs to be bland, boring food that you don't enjoy. And that's why people can't stick to it. And that's why people get so down that they can't lose the weight, can't put on the muscle, because they've worked with the wrong person. And it's just an old school mentality.
What an awesome story, bro. You know what? I'm heaps proud of you. Hey, you fucking done well, bro. You should fucking be able to pat yourself on the back. You've killed it. You come through so many ups and downs, and you know all those bad spots is a reason that a lot of people get in a bad spot and they stay there. You know, but you've kept bouncing back until you know where you're at a win now. You know what I mean? It's you know, like you stayed in the fight. You know, until you won. You know what I mean? Didn't give up. You know, true. Because a lot of people give up. Yeah.
I feel like it's those down times that made me, like, I'm so driven now career wise, and I'm so motivated to make money and to make a career of myself and like invest money. And like, I've made some really bad investments, but it's just those down times have led me to be like I am now. Like, if you had spoken to me 10 years ago and now, it would have blown your mind how different. I would have sat here and probably not said a word. I would have been so shy and reserved, and I would have told you I've got no outlook on where I'm going to be. I have no, like, I don't even drive to be any better than who I am. I'm just, this is me. If you don't like it, and on your way. Like,
so now that's grouse, you know. So now you got your girl, your fiance. Sorry, you know, it sounds like your soulmate, and that's what I've heard people say, like professionals, and that you need to find your kind, you know, to settle down, your type of person, your kind of person. It looks like you found that, and then you've got your social media. I'm sure she does social media too. I can only imagine, you know. You're both gym junkies, let's say it. You both love the gym and stuff, you know, that's your business. And then you do TikTok, that's an income on top of that, you know, like that's grouse, bro. You're really killing it. Well done. Congratulations to you, bro. Yeah, you're an inspiration.
And I feel like there's too many people that try and find, like, they think that there's a certain kind of person for them, but I just don't think that. I think there's, like, I didn't think that I would find someone that was exactly like me.
Yeah.
I didn't, like, she's reserved. She's like very driven, been through a lot as well when she was younger. There's a lot that aligns, and people say like opposites attract. I just don't think there's a certain thing that attracts. It's just you find someone that you click with and you agree with, and you don't, like, we'll go to a party or a function. We won't see each other for the whole night. I never have the inkling in my head, oh, she's talking to all these boys, or she never has the inkling of that. We meet up at the end of the night and we're both having the best night of our lives, and off we go home. Like, there's no worry, no forcing anything. It's just natural.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll just turn back on my comments, bro. Just like, and we might see what the comments say, and they might do a question and answer. But that was really good, bro. We killed it, you know. So we might see what the comments say and just have a question and answer, mate. You know, great convo, awesome interview. They love it, you know. My team's all about it. We love this shit, you know. we all love hope dealing. You know, we're all hope dealers out here. We're right into it. You know, and we love hearing those stories. Those stories of redemption, and yours is one of them, bro. And yeah, bro, you're a go getter, bro. It's awesome, you know. Like that's pretty cool, man. And you know, fitness is crazy, you know. Like I've got a fat belly. I've been TikToking for a few months now and not training, you know. And I've got a fucking belly on me, and it's a constant fight, isn't it? You know, your health and people like yourself, man. You know, to look the way you do is not. It's not a walk in the park. You know, you
No,
have to. No, you
it's
have to put in cards, man. You know, and
and it's
yeah,
another thing that I think's helped with bouncing back all the time and having that strong mindset is the fitness side of things. Like you need to be constant, and you need to be in a routine, and you need to know that you're not going to see changes very quickly. Like it's a long haul, it's a long road. So I
yeah.
think a lot of the really successful business people in the world, they are all into fitness as well because they've got that strong mindset and it's willing
100%,
to
bro.
put in the work.
Every successful motherfucker I come across, especially these days and on social media, and if they're a real go getter and they're out there and they're giving people, you know, experiences and information and coaching them and, you know, pumping them up, it all starts within. And they all start in the gym and they eat well and they train and 100%. And I say that a lot, you know, I've still got more of my better version to bring to the table. Like I try every day, but, you know, I've taken a whole new career, a whole new. I mean, I've dropped a whole Yui on my life, you know. And
Yeah,
my way I look at where I've started and where I am today, where I started my, you know, road to redemption, if you would say, and then where I am today, you know, I've leveled up heaps, and I'm only going to keep leveling up. But I know there's room for me to get back in the gym. You know, when I started this road to redemption, I was training flat out. You know, I was in the
yeah,
gym flat out. Like, obviously, I've trained on and off all my life, you know, because of jail and stuff like that. We learn in jail, you know, and gym's like my church, you know. Some of the most best times I've been mentally and at my best, maybe not living a positive world, but I was definitely at my best version, you know, quick off the mark, you know, was when I was training and eating well and sleeping, you know. It's just I've consumed myself with so much at the moment that I've sort of still trying to jug and condition myself to and time management to where I can fit gym in, you know. And I know once I do, I can just level up again, you know, 100%, yeah, for sure.
yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of people that they put pressure on themselves as far as thinking that they just don't have the mindset to do it, and they fail and they think like this isn't for me. I'm not disciplined enough. I don't have the willpower to do it. But I didn't either. Like everyone starts somewhere. You can't
Yep.
expect to have a strong mindset on a certain thing that you've just. It's like riding a bike. When you first got on a bike, did you have were you able to balance that bike straight away? No, you had to
No, of course.
learn. It's like your mindset.
Yeah.
You teach your mindset, and over time it gets better and better. And it's another thing. You're not consciously knowing that it's getting better, but when you look back 6, 12, 24 months, you realize how much better you've got at whatever you're doing, like whether it's
Yeah.
business or whether it's fitness or
Yeah. Just natural progression, isn't it? Have you had your
yeah.
comments on Jarrett?
Nah, I need one of my mods
I've
to.
just got people over here that just want to show some love. I think they're like, yeah, his comments are off. Please tell him Skunk Gang are proud of him
Guys,
killing it.
can you
So
tell
I
them
think
comment on?
so. You just go into three dots and then
Can
set
I do it?
comment settings, or yeah, allow comments.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, sweet. They're back on.
yeah. There you go, guys. They're back on. Yeah, that was really good, bro. That was really good. I love that. I love these stories. Me and my family out like they're like a family we are. We love them stories, man. Their stories are cool as, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the
So
more
are you
and
Buddhist? Yeah, but because obviously the are you a Buddhist because of the
oh
tattoo
no,
here?
my nan's Egyptian, so we've got I think we've got about a sixth Egyptian in us, and that's
Yeah,
just what the theme I went for with the tattoos because obviously it's part of my family. So
yeah.
money comes and goes. 100% it does. Bulldogs. Thanks, Hippie Congo Hood. Thank you, RL. Thank you, Jim Dad. Thank you, everyone who's commenting. Honestly, it means a lot. Thank you, B.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the whole time today, I was like, I'm not going to. I've told this story to people before, and I've never really got emotional. But the part about where my mates, that 4 month period where I lost all my
Yeah.
mates, I was
Yeah.
fucking, I
Oh,
was
you're a
close.
rattle. I've seen it in you, bro. I've seen it. I can see I picked it. But you
Oh,
done well, bro. You done really well. And you know what? It's an awesome story, bro. You should be proud to tell that story, man. Like, and I know there's some hard times, especially when your mates pass away and, you know, like being bullied and stuff like that. But you know what? Look what you've done with yourself today, bro. You should be very proud, you know, that, you know, those ups and downs, man, the trial and
thank,
tribulations, you killed it, bro. You 100%, you deserve a fucking massive pat on the back, bro. 100%. Like, you're an
thanks, bro.
inspiration. You are definitely inspiration. You deserve to be in the position you are today, you know, for sure, 100%.
Thanks, legend. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Braden. Thank you, Jim Dad. Appreciate everyone. Thank you, everyone who's on here. Hopefully, it resonates with someone and it bounces someone off the ground at the moment who's having a
Bro,
dark time.
someone here, one of my mates, you know, one of the boys from our, what you want to call our family, you know, his story at the start is near same as mine, bullies and drugs, you know. So yeah, and
A lot of people, that first part especially, like,
mm.
and there's a lot, like, I've got probably the image of being the bully at the moment, and this
For
is something
sure,
that
bro.
I
It is very hard
judged
to
on.
see. 100% the tattoos and you hold yourself well. You're a good looking lad. You know you sized up muscle wise and that. You wouldn't think that, bro. You wouldn't. You know, like you really wouldn't. You look like the cool kid, 100%. And then you know it's a very interesting story. You know you've built yourself into that, and that's pretty cool. You know. Mm.
The best feeling I ever get is when people, like Courtney, judged me before she met me as well. Everyone does through social media. Social media is like a book for judgment. It's You just do. I find myself doing it all the time. I'll look at someone's social media and think and assume stuff, but the best feeling ever is when you get someone say, "I thought you were going to be so different."
Yeah.
Like, I thought you were going to be in a negative way. Like, I thought
Yeah.
you were going to be a thug, or I thought you were going to be a drug dealer, or like a cheater or a player or whatever it is. And you can sort of reverse what they thought of you. That's the best feeling ever.
Yeah. Awesome, bro. That's awesome.
Thanks, Luke.
We done really well, bro. You've killed it. Yeah, that was a good one. You know, you know, you can download that if you want. You know, I've got it on a download. You know, like obviously in the replays we've got them. If you go into, you know, you can get your
Yeah,
download shit. Obviously, yeah. So
yeah.
that's there if you want. You know, if you want, it's your story, bro. You know, well, I don't know what people like. I've come across that many stories like yourself, man. Like, you know, not your story, but people with just journeys, man. And like, it's crazy, man. Podcasts are killing for these stories. You know, they're killing for them. You know, like 100%, bro. And you've got the proof that you were successful. You know, over the trials and tribulations, bro. Like, you know, people write books that aren't as half as fucking interesting as your story. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, you know. Like, you've
You
been
don't
through a
really,
lot.
I've never really sat down and timelined my whole life like that before. And then,
Yeah.
like, it's yeah. There's so many things that pop up that are like, fuck, that was pretty hectic. Oh, that part there was pretty hectic. Oh, now I'm here. It's like you don't realize it until you actually timeline it.
It was an honor, bro. It was definitely an honor to let me fucking interview you. I really like these things. These are cool, bro. This is a cool little platform we got going on. You know, it should be done more. It's crazy that you know, in somewhere else on the other side of TikTok, people have got 1,000 views for fucking standing on their head being a dickhead. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, we're talking some real shit. You know what I mean? And like, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. At the end of the day, bro, the people, you know, it's quality over quantity. You know what I mean? The people that are here for a good reason, bro. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
yeah, 100%. It's all
100%.
right.
Yeah,
Being on here, and I appreciate that you reached out to me. Like I said, I've
yeah,
never done anything like this. I've never spoke about a lot of those kind of things, especially on a platform where everyone can sort of pick me apart and I can give my vulnerability. But yeah, it's been an honor, and I appreciate it.
yeah. And so, like we spoke about, when someone just mentioned quite a good message. Like she did an interview, and it almost felt therapeutic, you know, to get it off your chest. And I hope after this, you know, once you turn
100%.
TikTok down, half an hour goes by, and you reflect. You probably find you have a good night's sleep, bro. You probably found there's a lot of fucking deep down stuff that you haven't brought to the table, into your close friends, and you've done it on a platform where I'll guarantee your following that we're here tonight listening, they'd be stoked. They'd be like, "Oh, so this is Jarrah's story." Man, fucking TikToking with him for 12 months, and then I know Gucci, just for example. Gucci was coming over here to watch your story. He's like, "Who you?" I'm interviewing Jay. He goes, "Fuck him out. What's he? I can't wait to hear his story because he battles you and he knows you. And he's got a story too. Everybody's got a story, bro. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, fucking.
And everyone on here, don't ever feel like your story's not interesting. Like everyone's got their own little ups and downs, which people can relate to. It's not. I didn't think my story was interesting until I just laid it out on the table just then. Like,
yeah, 100% it is, man. Very proud of where you've been. All right, bro. We'll call it an early one. We've half finished up. I like to have 2 hours, and we've done it in an hour and a half. It's not. Some go for longer, some go for shorter, but we've killed it. An hour and a half's good time, because I get in the journey with you, like I become, I feel your emotions when you were talking about your mates passing away and stuff. I felt your emotions. It's draining on me a bit too, some of the stories I hear are raw, like some of the people go through at childhood and stuff like that. It's crazy, and hearing that what you went through, so I'm holding on with all my emotions. I'm listening and I'm intrigued, I'm along the road with you. So it's draining on myself too, So like after this, I always walk away. I'll probably have 5-10 minutes with my people, and then I'll go out and walk away for 10 minutes, just shake it off, It's like being a counselor almost, and listening to people's, heartfelt stories, It's crazy. And you could either not give a fuck, but I'm not that type, I'm 100% hope dealer. I'm holding on to every word you got, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. You're good at what you do. You should definitely keep, like, you're pursuing the right thing. You're really in the game that you're niche.
It's good for me. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect spot, I think.
Yeah, that's what a lot of friends and family say. They're like, people go, he hasn't got a job. And they're like, trust me, he's good at what he's doing. What he's doing has worked out well for him. Because I've been there and I've done that, Once upon a time, I'd walk into a room and, maybe I'd sit down, someone would be like, I walk into a room, I sort of light it up, but all for the wrong reasons. Do you know what I mean? And I eventually start getting someone to come on board and we make some money and probably they end up in jail or something like that. You know what I mean? Or, crazy shit. Now I'm using those skills as being a communicator, we could say, communicator is communicating, and I'm good at communicating. I'm using it for good, I find you all for good.
How long's it taken you to reach what you love doing and being able to help other people doing it? Like,
since I was fucking 13, I'm 41 today, like I only been doing this year, fuck, it's crazy.
Anyone who's stuck in a spot where they don't think they're going to find what their niche or their comfortable spot is, it may not happen now, but it'll happen.
Yeah, if you keep pushing for it, if I can know, 100%, don't give up. That's the key to it. Don't give up. Don't settle for second best. Don't settle for second best. Don't do it. I think we're both a fucking perfect example of that. All right, Jarrah, I want to thank you, bro, and I just want to tell everybody that's listening, we only do these things not to fucking talk about how tough we were, or we sold drugs, or, we've been to jail, or we've done this or that, I'm a cool guy, and it's not about that, It's just a raw story with a good ending. At the end of the day, anybody out there that watches this, hopefully they can take something from it, and tomorrow they get up and feel like doing a bit better in their life, and that's enough for us. If they don't change their life like that, that's cool. At least we planted a seed. If they sat here and listened to this story and these roads to, these journeys, these trials and tribulations, then 100% we've won, because we planted the seed in their subconscious mind. They were listening because they're listening for a reason, because obviously they want something better in life, and these stories are inspiring. So 100%, I'm stoked to have you here. Help me, bro. At the end of the day, you helped me push a bit of hope tonight, So we're still moving and shaking. You know what I mean?
You keep killing it. You're doing an amazing job at what you do.
All right, Jarrah, legend, bro. Thank you for that. And thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody liked tonight. And all right, my bro, I'll speak to you tomorrow. Probably battle. Too easy.
Yep.
On your Jarrah.
Right, yeah. See you, bro.